Gordon Pepper, and it is my pleasure to have here with me Miss Sagirah Wheeler. I think I got that right.
Yes, you did.
Excellent. Now, she is from the DMV. She's from Apex Predators, and she's got a little belty piece of silver pinky thing on her shoulder.
I do. Little Tintin.
That was actually the Vixens match. It wasn't one of the best matches that I've ever seen, but what was great about the match, it was a dominant match. And you just, from a technical standpoint, and this is something that I was warning people about when I did a preview on this, I said, you are one of the best technical bowlers in the UBA, especially on the Vixen side, and you did not disappoint.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
Well deserved. It was a good match. So for those of us not in the DMV, tell us a little bit about you. You know I'm going to ask other questions about other things, but you go first.
Okay. Well, I'm Sagirah Wheeler. I am in the DMV. I'm a CEO now of Apex Predators. I'm actually originally from New York, so I know a lot of the New York, New Jersey crew. I came to Maryland to bowl at Morgan State University, so that really was my goal of why I've moved out here in 2009. And once I graduated, I kind of just started working and stayed out here, and my sister's out here, so 2 birds with 1 stone. And I just live life. I apologize in advance. My dog's right here, so she may make an appearance or not make an appearance. But those close to me know Bella very well, so.
I've actually had various pets come on in and say hi, so if you want to bring Bella up there to say hi, you're more than welcome to.
Bella, would you like to? She wants to go outside right now. But Bella, you want to say hi? No? Bella?
No. She's staring at the bell. Bella's staring at the Vixen's bell.
She is. She likes to sleep, stretch, sleep, eat, and sleep again. And sunbathe on good days, so. Everyone saw my redo of my patio. That was more for the dog.
Well, with coronavirus going around, there's plenty of time to hang out on the patio because a lot of people, like myself, are sort of hanging out here at home. So.
Yes. Going on the, 4th month?
Yeah, something like that. Hopefully things will clear up by the end of August, hopefully. Because there is that little Battle Bowl event coming out in Delaware. So.
I know.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit better. So how does it feel to be the Vixens champion?
Well, pre-COVID, it was actually a lot of fun. So I've talked about being on the Vixens list for a couple of years now, but those close to me that I've been in school forever. Mm-hmm. So when I started the UBA, I finished my bachelor's, started my master's, and now I'm in my doctoral program. So I've always had to deal with full-time work schedule, full-time school schedule, and then kind of fit bowling in between. But we kind of just pulled the plug last year and just said, we're just going to do it and we're going to figure it out. So it's been a lot of fun. Personally, I love to travel, so I try to incorporate travel into bowling. And it's something my mom used to do when they had WASA a very long time ago. Mm-hmm. So used to kind of the traveling style to kind of get to places and just to meet other women. Like, it feels like, especially in the bowling community, women are like there and talked about a little bit, but we miss that so many women bowl, whether it's handicap, whether it's scratch, and to be able to have a Vixens list like this, North and South, where women just have the opportunity to kind of bowl head to head, similar to the men, and have our own shine, our own light. It's like perfect for us.
Very cool. Yeah, you've been someone that's defended and represented that belt very, very well.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. Now, I've heard, and I spoke to Mr. Andre Wellborn earlier on this week. So he was telling me, yeah, DMV is excited about Battle Bowl, but the one thing that he stressed, and you talked about it, so I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit more. He said, DMV will travel anywhere. DMV is not scared of anybody. They love going to Southeast. They love going to North Carolina. They love going up on North. And they said part of the reason why the North doesn't go down to the DMV, he thinks, is that sometimes the North is a little bit scared about coming down because they're afraid that they're going to have their lunch handed to them. Tell me about that DMV attitude, because that's not the first time that I've heard that.
No, so it's actually DMV versus everybody, and we have our own wristbands to promote it. And I will agree with that. The DMV area, I think because it's where it's located, just in between New York, not too far, not too close, in between North Carolina, not too far, not too close, a 3 hour trip is nothing. We have bowling alleys, and it's not as bad as South Carolina, who travels for. Um, but I bowl at Etzel Road in Alexandria, VA. That's about an hour and a half from where I live, and
Hmm.
2 hours from where I used to live. So to travel 2 hours to a tournament is no different to travel to league. So I think we're just competitive, and because we bowl each other a lot, we're looking for more people to bowl. So it's easy to go up to New York. It's easy to go down to North Carolina. I will say it's twofold. The competitor in me is like, you're afraid to bowl, but we do have people from Jersey and New York who do travel down. But it's also just the travel. Like, we don't mind sitting in the tolls or sitting in traffic and things like that. It might not be something that you do if you're especially from New York City and public transportation is more heavily leaned upon versus travel by a car or just things like that, rideshare. So I go both ends, being a person and a competitor, but we're open and welcome to anybody who wants the sauce.
Here's the one thing that I always look at, and I always make fun of people from the New York, New Jersey area that will not go to the DMV. And here's the one thing that I'll make fun of. I see it in Facebook media all the time. Every single weekend. Hey, going down to Atlantic City. Hey, going down to Sands Casino. Hey, going over to the shore. It's quicker if you know the right way. Delaware for me, and I am 5 minutes away from the bridge. Delaware for me, with no traffic, is a 2 hour straight shot, and I've gotten there in under 2 hours to Delaware, and then it's a little bit under that. For me to get from where I am, again, right by New York to Maryland, and I've been there a number of times, is, again, with no traffic, less than 4 hours. If I'm stuck in traffic going to AC, it'll take me more than 4 hours. And that's the one thing, it's just sort of like, okay, you guys post on Facebook every weekend you're going to PA or Atlantic City, but oh my God, Maryland, it's so far. No, it's Maryland. It's not Guam. We're not talking about another continent somewhere, another country somewhere else. It's not that bad.
I definitely would agree. I mean, for Delaware, for us, it's about an hour and a half, and I'm right in between Baltimore and DC, so I'm kind of like in the sweet spot. But there are still people who travel from Manassas, Falls Church, Virginia, Fredericksburg, and still make their way all the way up to Delaware, Jersey, any time of the day if the tournament's right. So, I mean, I guess it's just a preference, and for me, it's really how what your goals are in the sport. So if you want that competitive edge and know that traveling is how you're going to get it, and traveling is how you're going to meet those other people, then traveling just what you do, and that you just make it a part of your plan.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was one WCS match that I had a long time ago where I knew that we are going to be going down to Delaware. And I said, you know what? Let's make a weekend out of it. Let's go to this bowling alley because it's 10 minutes away from Dover Downs Delaware Casino. And that's what we did. And part of it was having the match. And then right afterwards, we went to the casino and I just hung out there for the weekend. It was fun.
Yes, that's
It
how
was
you do
very
it.
cool.
We do the same thing. So we go down to Southeast Unholy because it's in Myrtle Beach, and my brother has a timeshare 2 minutes from the bowling alley, but like a full resort, indoor, outdoor pool, a swim up bar, all that stuff. So we make an entire trip out of it just to have some fun.
That's why I joined the UBA for reasons like that. Now, talk to me a little bit about. I see a sorority banner behind you. I want to know a little bit more about that.
Yes. So I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I crossed at Morgan State University in 2011. And we're really known for sisterhood, scholarship, and service. And so even now during the pandemic, it's activists. It's making sure that making sure people are voting, making sure people have the information, making sure people have resources. So if it's food banks, if it's volunteering your clothing, like anything that you're able to do as a person. And it resembles with me because I really feel like anyone can make a difference, even if it's in your spheres of influence. I feel that if you have friends and family, no one should ever struggle. As in, if I'm able to help you, then I will do what I can to be able to help you. Just make sure that I'm not like inconveniencing myself. And so that's
Right.
what really connected with me to the organization. And so I'm still a member. I actually live with a member as well. She's my roommate, college person, best friend, sister, whichever one you want to call it. Just kind of all of those things. We've been together since 2011.
Hmm.
So that it's just another type of organization, another type of nonprofit, just to be able to help people, and to come together with like minds.
That's great. And I think that's fantastic. And it shows a lot because I know you are very politically active, and I mean that in a very good way. I've seen your posts on Facebook. A lot of people have. A lot of people have shared a lot of your stuff on here. And one of the things about the UBA is UBA is a gigantic melting pot. We have all sorts of races, all sorts of religions, all sorts of everybody. I've seen pretty much every ethnicity, every whatever that is in the UBA. And I know that you're very politically active. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, so I can't really necessarily say politically active. I think for me, it's more education.
Okay.
And I will contribute that all to the fact that I'm in an education program. And especially with everything going on, it's very easy to, in the beginning, I'll probably not ignore it, but bottle it up so that you don't have to deal with it. Like, well, maybe life will, be different. Maybe these are things that we don't have to deal with. But the fact that certain things in terms of police brutality, in terms of laws being changed and not being fair to all, and how, frankly, our Constitution is set on separate but equal still, or that all men are created equal, but we have clauses for certain ethnicities, certain genders. It shows that we're not all equal. And so I feel like we should live in a world that's equal. If we're supposed to be a high-powered country, there's no reason why we're going backwards, and there's other countries who are able to provide rights, who are able to provide paternity and maternity leave, paid leave at that, who are able to provide better education for students. Like, there's no reason we should be lagging behind. But it comes a lot to our leadership, and then it comes a lot to what we're able to do in our spheres of influence. And so I just got tired of seeing a trend, seeing a hashtag, and when that trend was over, it gets really quiet. And
Hmm.
so, and then we wait for the next hashtag to get mad for the next couple of days, and then we forget again. And we just can't keep living in that stagnant era. So if you're going to say, this is a hashtag, this is a trend, I'm fighting for these justices, then what are you doing to be able to change that? How are you having conversations with your friends? And frankly, if you're not having these conversations with your friends, you may need a new circle, just because something has to change, or we're going to see racism come back. We're going to see slavery come back. And I think we're kind of already a slave to media and a slave to social and a slave to the constructs of society. So how are we able to break out of that? Why do I like it comes down personally? Why go to school if nothing's going to matter? Why bowl if nothing's going to matter? And so I think that's just where my passion is kind of coming from, whether it's just to educate, whether it's to educate on laws you want to know about, whether it's gun laws, whether it's voting rights. Just know more so that you can do more versus just being passionate without any substance.
It's funny that you bring that up because, first of all, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Second of all, there's something that you said that I'm going to focus in on a little bit. Um, and I completely agree with you on it. There, you have the protests, you have everything that's going on in society right now. And I'll take it back almost 10 years ago when you had Occupy Wall Street in Zuccotti Park, and you had a lot of people saying the 1% and is there, stock is bad, greed is bad, and they had this great movement, but they did nothing with it after that. They were there for 3 months, and then everything just went right back to wherever it is. So here's my question to you from a political standpoint, and keep in mind I'm completely in agreement with you. What is the next step? Because you have, I mean, this is great that we're having this discussion on race. I know on my social media I've said, hey, here are books that I'm starting to read, and it's true, I'm starting to read them. And we're talking about, and we're having this discourse, and this discourse is great. But the question becomes, what is the next step afterwards? Because the one thing that you don't want to see, especially in this environment, is, hey, we're doing all this, and then, hey, let's go have a party, and we'll forget about it later.
Yes, I would definitely say the protests and the riots are the first step. So that's just to make everyone aware. The fact that everything was filmed, whether it was a positive light or a negative light, everyone has been aware. So now this has become a topic. So now the next step is to educate. It is to watch those particular movies, not the social movies that like the bright side. Even though it's great, we want real movies like Just Mercy, We want to make sure that you're educated so that when you can make a decision, whatever your decision is, you're making an informed decision. And then the next step after that is to be able to vote. We're in an election year, so we have to be able to vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for, except Kanye, who you vote for. I already put another post about that. But it doesn't matter who you vote for, but just make sure that you're making an informed vote, knowing that it's not just a presidential election that gets the changes that you need. What about your school board elections? What about your governors? What about your deputy in chief? Like, you need to make sure that you're voting and knowing who you're voting for and knowing what those policies are and holding them accountable. If they come and they campaign and say they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and we don't see them do X, Y, and Z, hold them accountable. It's the same that we hold Starbucks accountable to make sure that they're providing us our service or make sure that they're staying politically correct. It's the same way as we hold the NFL or the NBA accountable. We have to hold everyone accountable to the things that they say that they're going to do, especially when they're providing you a service, whether it be paid service or whether it be human service.
I could have this conversation with you for another hour. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time. But no, this is great. And as we already discussed, I would love to have you back on. We've already had a discussion with, you want to bring a couple of people in when
Yes.
I'm getting a group panel going on, and I will definitely hold myself to that in terms of that, because I definitely want to make sure that we have more discussion on this. However, as I said, I am running out of time. Is there anything that I missed? Anything you want to discuss? Any shout outs? Anything like that? The floor is yours.
Of course, I have shout outs. Shout out to Apex. Shout out to my moms and my brothers. My mom's on BOA, so I don't know if we're the only team, but we do. That's our sister club, so we actually have jerseys that have their logo on the back. So we keep shouting them out and travel with them when we can. Of course, all my friends and family. I cannot name you all, but you know who you are. I just say thank you. Just thank you for supporting me. I know that we've talked about the belt. We have the belt, and now the point is to keep the belt. And to keep educating. It feels great, even if it's just a UBA belt. It feels great sometimes to see someone like me who's at the top, who's excelling, who's achieving, who's working really hard, whether it be in school, whether it be at work or sport. Just because it's in the bowling community, there's not many at the professional level or the high amateur level of people of color who are able to excel, and that may be due to resources, education, etc. But it's really nice to be able to see, and that kind of gives some camaraderie. And I've gotten a lot of messages just from the time that I've started the series to now, just about keep doing your thing and showing, little girls that they can. And to be honest, women can bowl, and women can bowl as strong as men. I know for a fact. I always get you throw the rock hard to be a female, and we can compete with the best of them. We just may compete differently. Our strategies are different, but we know how to use that to our advantage. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Stay safe in the pandemic. It's still not over. Stay safe where you are. Racism's not done. Injustices are not done. And it's not just a black or white issue. It's not just a male or female issue. There's plenty of injustices that we see, and whatever you can do in your spheres of influence, whether that's stopping on the road if you see somebody pulled over and making sure that they're okay, making sure the cops are doing what they're supposed to do by law, that's perfectly fine. But just make sure that you're doing something to stay safe, and then hopefully they can figure out a vaccine or some type of measures for us to go back to a type of normalcy.
I couldn't say anything better than what you just said, so I will just finish it with thank you all for watching. For Sagirah Wheeler, this is Gordon Pepper, and this has been, well, much more than 5 minutes worth of fame with Sagirah Wheeler. And I'm going to say this is Gordon Pepper, UBA all day.
UBA all day.